esports has blown up, okay? Last year's international 2021 tournament, the total purse payout to kids and people playing video games was $40 million, okay? That's $40 million. Total.
All the kids.
Now, here's the thing. What do you think first place got? What do you think first place got out of the $40 million? I'm curious. Because he's going to show it to you right now in a minute. What do you think first place got out of the $40 million?
$10 million.
Okay, go click on first place. Click on it. Guys, so first place, make it a little bigger. First place, $18 million bucks. Okay, so
48% of it, basically.
Yeah. So now here's what's going on with at the same time. So there's more people watching the last. There's a number that they showed that live streamed that more people watch the championship of esports than the Super Bowl. Okay,
wow.
So this is
my mind just exploded.
Yeah, I don't know if you
get this brains all over the wall.
Oh, this
right
is
now.
by the way, this is
what?
turning. Oh, by the way, the sponsorships they're getting, multi-million-dollar year sponsorships being given to 16-year-olds, 17-year-olds, 14-year-olds, 22-year-olds. They're making that kind of money right now. These gamers are, right? So this is the challenge. The people that are struggling with this the most are parents, okay? Because parents are sitting there and they're saying, dude, I grew up in a phase where you went and played games. You went and played football. You went and played basketball. You went and played soccer, football, whatever the game may be that you're doing. Now my kid's coming home. All he's talking about is Roblox. He's talking about League of Legends. He's talking about all of these tournaments that are taking place. And what do I do? Don't play video games, because that's what we're supposed to do. I grew up in Sega Genesis. I grew up on Super Mario Brothers. I grew up in all these things,
Tecmo Bowl.
Yeah, all these crazy things that we grew up on.
Jackson.
Yeah, the Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat. These were the games, arcade, right? We shouldn't do that. Versus now, they're now, looking at this as a industry. This could be their jobs. Kids could make video games. Kids could be gamers making $100,000, $250,000, $500,000, $1 million a year. That's their passion. That's what they love. Mm-hmm. What do you say to parents who worry on how to handle video games with their kids, especially now that it's no longer just a game that you're playing, it's becoming an industry?
Do you know, it's funny when you said that about the games when we were kids, because about maybe 6 months ago, I was playing Fortnite with one of my godsons, Joe, who was 10 at the time. And I said to him, hey, Joe, do you want to see what video games were like when I was a kid? And he's like, yeah. And we played, do you remember Frogger? Do you remember this game?
Of course.
So we played Frogger for like 3 minutes, and he turned to me and he put his hand on mine, and absolutely sincerely he said, Johann, I'm so sorry things were so shit when you were a kid.
So sorry.
How old was the kid?
10. He looked
That's
at me.
cool.
He looked at me like the way if I'd taken him to like a wooden shack where I lived in shit. Do you know what I mean? So I think with video games,
it's like a black and white TV versus a new HD. Everything that it's insane. It's totally different.
So I think with video games, there's a few. I have a few thoughts. So one is there's loads of good things about video games, right? Firstly, it gives a lot of people a lot of pleasure. That's a good thing in itself. Secondly, it improves hand-eye coordination. There's all sorts of really great things. My view is video games are a good thing in a balanced diet.
Really?
Right?
They are.
So there's no problem. I have no problem. Go to KFC once a week. It's fine. Just don't go to KFC 3 times a day, right?
Gotcha.
In the same way, so the Chinese government, and I want to stress, I do not support this because the Chinese government is a communist tyranny and it's awful. But the Chinese government has introduced a rule saying that kids are allowed to play video games for 3 hours a week. Right? And it's a strict rule, it's enforced. That seems to me, although I wouldn't want to have a communist tyranny imposing it, I'd want parents to choose it. That seems to me like a perfectly sensible 3 hours a day, that's fine. 3 hours a week rather, that's fine. Obviously, most American kids are doing way more than that. The thing I'm worried about much more is the context in which they're playing the video games. Because like we were saying, if a child never gets to go outside, right? If the kids are sort of imprisoned and all they've got is the video game, well, I'm not surprised they become obsessed with it, right? If the children need to explore their environment, right? Our children don't get to explore their environment. They don't get to go off on their own and play in the park and play in the woods and just do all the normal things that we did, right? They don't get to do that. So what do? They become obsessed with the one form of exploration they're allowed to do, right? Now, being obsessed with it isn't good. A balanced diet is fine. Going to KFC every now and then, play video games.
Pat, how do you deal with, because you say your kids play video games, yeah?
Only on the weekends.
Okay, so that was my question.
That's a sensible rule.
How do you manage expectations with them to say, all right, guys, if you get your stuff done during the week, the weekends you can choose to do it, like choose what you want with your free time. If they choose video games, great. If they want to go play outside, how do you deal with your kids with that?
Oh, I mean, you've known what we do with the structure with the kids. Every day, if you want to play video games or if you want anything, the currency in our house is books.
Right.
So after you read 20 pages, after you move your body, exercise, and then you can play. So you have to watch a documentary. So we've gone through The Men Who Built America. We've gone through a Last Dance documentary. We've gone through History of Capitalism. We're going right now through Man in the Arena with, what do you call it?
Tom
with,
Brady.
Tom Brady. So 20 minutes, doc, exercise, moving your body, then you get to play video games.
But
that's the
is
criteria.
their ultimate reward to say, that's
If that's what they want to
the
do.
payoff.
But no, the other day they said we wanted to go to such and such park, which I went there and we were at the park for an hour. They didn't want to play video games. We went to the park. It's a sick park. And they played with these kids with the Nerf guns and they had a blast what they did at the park. But I think about myself. Were you a gamer? Did you play games or no? Were you?
I was more the kid that was playing football on the
You were the
on
athlete.
the sidewalk.
Yeah, so I played Fester's Quest, which if you do you remember Fester's
of course
Quest?
I do.
If you remember Fester's Quest, you're either my age or like type in Fester's Quest. This was
Oh
my
my God,
game.
this is like a bizarre.
I'm so
flashback.
not in tune with games.
This
I've
is
never
so
heard
nuts.
of
That's
this.
the game I played. I was
Never
addicted
heard
to
of this.
Fester's
That face,
Quest.
I remember that
Yeah.
fucking face.
I was
Zelda
addicted
thing?
to Zelda.
Yeah,
I was
Prisoner of
addicted
Zelda,
to
of course.
Final
What's that
Fantasy.
thing? God.
Final Fantasy RPG games. I was addicted
So
to.
you were a gamer.
I would say I was a gamer for 2 years. And then I went to the Army. We played FIFA soccer. And then one day I had zero interest when I got out of the Army. Like zero interest. I'm like, dude, I have no time for this.
So if you enjoyed this little short segment from the podcast that we did, here's another short segment to watch. Or if you want to see the entire podcast, click over here. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.